Hey, Mario.
Hello. You're not gonna fall asleep tonight?
Oh, I was out last night. Must be that daylight savings.
Yeah. Actually, you should have an hour.
Yeah. Whatever. Hey, doctor.
Good evening.
Hello, Emily.
You look like you're in the Sierras. Yosemite had a beautiful snowstorm yesterday.
Okay, we're on Yud Daled, Amid Aleph. Ravina Amar Hachiktani. Ravina says that our Mishnah is like this. Ve'elu mutarin kichulin. The following phraseology, when you make a neder, is not going to asr, it's not going to prohibit, it's going to treat it like chulin. For example, if you say this loaf should be kipsar chazir, because chazir is a davar ha'asr, not a davar ha'nodu. It's not prohibited because you made a neder, like this should be a shlami, which is asr through a davar ha'nodir. Psar chazir is asr as a davar ha'asr, which does not create a prohibited neder or kavod zara. Now, the lotana chulin, if the author of the Mishnah would not have listed chulin, hava mina boy she'ela, I would have thought that fine. It's not a full-fledged neder, but it would still require hatorah by chacham. And why umi ikala suki al daitachi? Why would you have a havamina? Because hamidik tani seifa ha'omer liishta hareyad alay ki'ima. The seifa of the Mishnah yesterday said, if a person says to his wife, "I want you to be prohibited to me like my mother," so it's also not a davar hanoter; it's a davar ha'isr. It's ima is an erva. It doesn't become prohibited because of some kind of neder. So technically, it shouldn't have any force. So emikra din, it's not. But the Mishnah said, so that people should not become the zalzel in making the dorim, we make it required that such a neder gets annulled. And if in the Seifa it says that, it must mean that Michlad the Reisha lo by Shela. The various items mentioned in the Reisha would not require Shela. So this statement that you made that Chulin has a Havamina boy Shela, it's not so. Elamachvata, like the first answer, Chulin Memela Naspa. Chulin was just mentioned as to complete the list, but not to teach me any chidush. Now, Menon and Mili, where is the source that when you make a neder and you use a davar ha'asr like chazir or avodah zara, it doesn't create the neder? Because Amar Kra, ish ki yidor neder lashem ad she yidor b'davar ha'nodur. To asr something, you have to do it in a way where the prohibition of something comes through a person making a neder. Like, I make a neder that this animal becomes a shlami or a chatas. That's a davar hanodur. It becomes prohibited through a neder. So the Gemara says, "Iachi afilu b'davar ha'asr nami." Maybe the neder would work even if I do say to the piece of bread, "I want you to be like a piece of chazer." Dog siv lasor isar al nafsho. The pasuk seems to suggest any kind of prohibition. So the Gemara says, "Le'asor isar meboilin chadetanya." That pasuk is required for another limud. That ezeu isar b'Torah. That every dvar isar has to come through a neder, and not through a simple prohibition.
When it says Lashem, maybe refers to a neder that you say, God, I swear that with God's name, you say Lashem. Stam a neder without Hashem's name, maybe it's nothing. Why only when you use Hashem's name? Why does it say Lashem?
Well, because neder lash, the nedorim that Chazal are referring to are things like harezu chatas, which is a korban lashem, or harezu shlomim. Those are the like we said koinim, which is another word for korban. So it's korban. It's you're making a neder lashem. That's the primary nedorim that prohibited things, and it's using that language lashem that creates nedorim.
So if you say, if you make a neder, nothing to do with korban.
You don't have to say. You don't have to say the Shem of Hashem.
But let's say you make a neder of things other than a korban. Stam, I prohibit this for me. Piece of bread. I prohibit this for you. Not using Hashem, and it's not using referring to anything korban.
No, all the languages is like ki imra, ki ishim, ki eitzim, ki ushalayim, ki mizbech. It all refers to something related to the Beis Hamikdash and making a neder legavoa. So it always references something that you're donating to Hashem. That kind of neder prohibits. Think that something should be like chazir or avodah zarah or something that is a prohibited item that does not create a neder. That's what the Gemara is teaching us here. So haomer liishto harei at hi'ima. So we say you have to annul it through a Pesach. But we don't say that it's a real neder. So the Gemara says Reminu. Says harei ata like kibsar ima. He says to his wife, I want you to be to me like the flesh of my mother, or kibsar achoisi, like my sister, or ke'orla ukeklaya keren, right? Fruits of a tree of the first 3 years, or the mixture of grapes and tvua. Lo amar klum, these are prohibited items, not davra nodur. So amar abaya, lo amar klum midoraisa enachanami. Min Torah, there's no din neder, but sarich she'ela midrabanan. The chachamim required in these situations to go to a chacham to annul. We don't want people to be mezalzel in the door. Rava Omar, Rava gives a teretz, another teretz, why there's a stira. That b'talmidei chachamim haba amaretz. That a talmid chacham would not necessarily have to go to to have it annulled, but an amaretz would. Va'atani, I'll show you that that's correct. Hanoider batoira. Someone makes a neder, like he said, I want this to be to me like a Sefer Torah. Lo amar klum. It's not a neder. But for Amrav Yochanan, the tzarch she'el l'chacham. Rav Ech says it needs annulment. However, Amrav Nachman v'tamid chacham ain't a tzarch she'el. Tamid chacham knows that it doesn't create a neder, but we're machmir on an amaretz. Yudal Amid Beis. Tanya, anointed by Torah, lo amar klum. Person says, this piece of bread should be to me like a Sefer Torah. It's not a neder. But if you say b'masha kasuv ba, and since written in the Sefer Torah is many names of Hashem, So it's like making a neder b'shem. Dvar of kayomim. So then it's a neder. And if you said ba in the Torah, uvemasha kasuv ba dvar of kayomim. So ktani b'masha kasuv ba dvar of kayomim. So ba uvemasha kasuv ba tzarech lemember. What chiddush is that? Rav Nachman loikasha. Had the machta araisa a'ara. One case there's a Sefer Torah on the ground or on a table. And had the nakat le biyad. And another case is he's holding it in his hands. Machta al ara. If it's lying on the ground and he points to it, daite agvili. He's thinking about the goof of the sefer, the klaf. And when he's making the neder b'Torah, it's the physical sefer, and that's not a neder. However, nokat labiyade, if he's holding it and he makes that statement, then his mind is on the Shem Hashem's there, and then it would be a neder. V'boy sema, that both cases are demachta alara. V'hakam ashvalan, the afagav demachta alara, kivin damer b'masha kosuba mahani. You might think it might just be on the gvilin, but by saying b'masha kosuba works, the zuv ein tzarech lo mezutoni, and it's not only this, but this also structured. The iboy sema, hula mitzios anamet b'nakat labiyah. The whole case is where he's holding it in his hands. Even the case is ba uvamasha kasuba, and it's a neder. Va'komash malon kiven denoket lebiyade. Once you're holding it, avagav deloyar malo elaba. Let's say you just said ba. You don't say ba mesha kasu. Kiman de amr ba mesha kasu dami. So holding in your hands gains that concept of a neder. Koinem sha'ani yoshe. You take a vow using koinim, which is like a korban, and you say, I'm not going to sleep. Or shani medabir, I'm not going to speak. Or shani mahalech, I'm not going to walk. Or ha'omer liisha koinim shani meshamshech. Or I'm not going to have relations with you. So harezeh below yochad vod. You do create a neder. And if you don't makayim, you're over the love of lo yachil dvaro. So he's obviously going to be over because person cannot, go for too long without sleep. Itmar. Koinem einai b'sheina hayom imisha l'machar. I prevent my eyes from sleeping today if I sleep tomorrow. That's what he says in Lashon Koinem. Amar Amarav. So al yishan hayom, he should restrain himself from sleeping today. Shema yishan l'mochar, because maybe he'll sleep tomorrow, and that fulfills the t'nai of his neder. Rav Nachman amar yishan hayom. No, he can sleep today. V'lo chayshinan shema yishan l'mochar. We don't worry. Maybe he'll sleep tomorrow, maybe not, because there's no issue yet today. And since he answered himself, tomorrow he has to be careful not to fall asleep. Umoid Rav Yehuda, but Rav Yehuda will agree. Ba'oimar koinem einai b'shein l'machar mishan hayom, that I will take a neder. I'm not going to sleep tomorrow. If I sleep today, sheyishan hayom, you can sleep today. There's no isser. But now there'll be an isser to sleep tomorrow. That's okay. You don't have any problem of stopping sleeping today. Okay. Tomorrow we'll learn at